and we're live. So today, welcome back for another episode of the Redline Podcast. My hair is still fucked up because I can't afford a haircut right now. My move really drained the hell out of my account, so I'm living off rations, oatmeal, milk, no haircut, no car wash, £10 in petrol every week. Proper CEO life, And today I have the privilege of having Sam Gupta on the show. He's the CEO of Leilla, Sales Robot. He has another company, I think. And me and you met, 4 years ago? You
Yeah.
were telling me about it. And that's the first time you actually opened my eyes to the possibility that automation on LinkedIn was possible. I didn't even
Yeah.
know. And seeing that, like, obviously opened up a whole new what do they call it, a rabbit hole to whatever the next areas have been in my life. But I'm proud to have you on the show, mate. Thank you for joining. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Awesome. Thanks for that intro, man. That's too kind. So I am the founder of Sales Robot. Sales Robot is a LinkedIn automation, email automation company. What we really do is we help B2B salespeople automate all of that work of clicking buttons on LinkedIn to send people connection requests, or send emails, send email follow-ups. So all of the work that you are doing manually around cold email or cold LinkedIn, our software automates all of that so that you can sit back and just make cold calls, or actually go on meetings with prospects.
All right. So why do you do it though? What got you into this? Because I remember you having a very interesting background in your education.
Yeah.
You have the equivalent of like an MIT or something.
Yes, that's very interesting why I got into it. Like, that's a whole another story. So the way what happened is my actual background is engineering. I used to do engineering, for Silicon Valley tech startups before I started doing this. So what I really did was after my engineering degree, my background was artificial intelligence. I wanted to do something related to artificial intelligence, right? So what I did was I went ahead and thought, okay, I was a naive, like, 19-year-old, and I thought I would just start a company and become a billionaire like Elon Musk or something. But that's not how it works, right? So what I did was I said, okay, let's look at artificial intelligence and let's see if we can apply it to something like video surveillance, right? Or CCTV. That was an interesting space to me back then. So what we did was let's say, you're in a massive hotel, or a big five-star property. So when you're in that kind of property, you have one property can have like hundreds of cameras, right? So what that product was able to do is that it was able to watch the CCTV cameras live, instead of, like, security people watching it. And it would be able to shortlist and show you like the top 5 cameras to watch right now, something like that, right? Something really like Google, but for
Wow.
CCTV video. So
And how long?
yeah,
How
so
long did it take you
built
to
that.
develop that software or that
We built
outcome?
it in like 8 months. We built it in like 8 months, right? Me and my partner, we built it like very quickly. So we actually ended up working with a couple of big companies here, like in India. Also, real estate is coming up, like big projects coming up in Delhi, Bombay. So we were working with one of the bigger projects in Delhi, the capital of India, with the property developer there. So we ended up selling to a couple of companies, but we never could scale it, at least in India, because the price point was too high, right? Like, at that point, it used to cost something like 100K, to install and run. So a lot of people were like, what's the ROI on it, right? Like, why
Wow.
should I invest so much in security? Yeah. So because the GPUs on which these, artificial intelligence video processing algorithms run, those systems are very heavy. So it was costly. So a lot of Indians didn't invest in it, right? Even rich Indians didn't invest in it. So we didn't end up scaling it. But that was always at the back of my mind, right? Like, the question I always got was, what's the ROI on it? Like, what's the ROI? If I invest $1 in your software, what am I getting in return? So that's why I got into sales tech, because like I could shut people up anytime they said ROI. We said, okay, you invest $1 in Sales Robot, and you're for sure going to get, at least, 10, 15 conversations on LinkedIn a month, right? Because that's how the software works. It works, right? Or, you're going to get at least a couple of email replies every month. Now it's up to you what you're going to do with those replies, because ultimately it's your sales process. You need to know how to nurture the leads, but we're starting the conversation for you
Yeah,
at like $99 a month. So that's dirt cheap price, right? For you to start a conversation
yeah, of
with
course.
something that could even be a 50K deal. So that was my thought process. Like, uh, if we could do something in sales tech, we would prove the ROI on day zero, and that's what we've done.
Mate, it was incredible seeing the power of the first tool that you ever made. I forgot what the name of
Mm-hmm.
it was.
Yeah,
What was it again?
it was called Alice. It was called Alice AI.
No, the first sales tech you built before Leadzilla, the one I used when I was at NS
Yeah,
Media.
that's what I'm called. That's called Sales Robot now. We
Called
call it
Leadzilla.
Senzilla. Senzilla. Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Senzilla. That was the champion, bro.
Yeah.
That business was sick. And it was
Yeah.
true. You turn it on, and in a couple of minutes, you're starting to see like, Jesus Christ, this thing is incredible. And then I remember I went through the whole team. I went to my management. They were like squeaky bums all along. They would never invest in anything, but they'll work you like a
Yeah.
horse. And I was just like, look, I want to use this stuff. This is really cool. And that's what got me into like entrepreneurship and wanting to run my own business, because I wanted to be in charge of the spend on technology that I wanted to use. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to budget. And and it turned out to be the best journey ever. So really, like
Mm-hmm.
your education, who are you? What do you do? Obviously, that's a huge impact. Why do you do it? Like, why do you get into sales, or why do you continue doing this type of job or this career?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, man. Like I said, I think it comes from a place where you think you can do better than at a job, right? Like, it fundamentally boils down to you thinking that you can do better than what you could at a job. Because see, the way I think about it is this, right? um Especially in a country like India, where I am, I don't need too much money to survive, right? So if my base spend is low, I can
Hmm.
take more risk, and when you take more risk, two things can happen. One, you can lose everything, which is fine, because anyway it doesn't take too
Yep.
much to live here, right? Two, you make a ton of money,
Hmm.
right? Which is in the realm of possibility, right? So the way I see it is, one, I get to be my own boss. Like, I used to work for I used to work for a company before, and it was a great company. My bosses were great. They gave me a ton of freedom to work on the projects I wanted. But what ended up happening was, kind of, I'm the kind of guy who wants a ton of control, right? In the sense that I created a great product. Like, I used to work in cybersecurity before this, and the product, and it's like a 30-year-old company, right? The product that I built, the CEO of that 3,000 person, 4,000 person company said that is the most innovative product to come out of this company in 30 years. Okay, I was very happy building that product, loved the praise. But then I was like, okay, how do we sell it? Like, I went to the product marketing manager. He's like, okay, we're going to write a blog about it. Like, what will a blog do? We need a proper marketing plan, a sales plan. Like, you need to, incentivize
Oh
people the
my
right
God.
way. And I wanted that control. I was like, yeah, we built this cool thing, but then so what? Right? Like, so freaking what? I got a word of praise from the CEO. Is that it? And then the colleague next to me, who's like licking my manager's ass all the time, he gets promoted and I don't. That was the time I
Yeah.
quit. Immediately quit and
Oh
said,
my
okay,
God. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, this is not for me. I've built out cool stuff. I can build out cool stuff on my own. I don't need a job, right? Like, I can get another job anytime I want, given my background. Let me try to build $1
Yep.
on the internet, right? Like, that's my That was my mindset when I quit. Like, I just want to build $1, make $1
Yep.
on the internet. I don't. We ended up making like 52,000 monthly, but my thinking always was like $1, just $1 on the internet.
Yep. But that's the right way to go about it. And I thought exactly the same. It's very funny you say that, because when I was at another company, it was always about we had to make cold calls, literal cold calls. And if the phones were down,
Yeah.
we were using our own phones. And I thought that was insane.
Right.
Absolutely insane. So when it you're right, when you want control and you want to do things, you think that is all you need, that little bit of belief that you can do it a little bit better. You don't have to reinvent the
Yeah.
wheel. You just have to have that conviction and that belief that you can push it further. So one of the major things that I focus on on this show is like failure, right? We say fail forward.
Mhm.
I call it accelerated learning, because a lot of people have seen my path in life, and it has been extremely volatile in terms of it goes boom and goes boom and goes boom. And like most people go like this and they tickle what they went
Yeah.
through. Some people go like this and then they have their jumps. Mine literally goes like you're having a heart attack and then you're coming back alive with a fucking thing. So I'm interested to know from your side, what is a major failure that you experienced in your career or in your life? And from that failure, like it completely changed the way you think. You know, when you have those moments, there's probably tons.
Yeah.
But for the audience, people who are trying to get into sales, maybe start their own business, they're in business and they're trying to scale it. What was the failure you went through that you'd love to share so others can not make that mistake because you've done it already?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, man. That's a lovely way to phrase it as well. I'll tell you my story, right? I'll tell you exactly what I felt back then. So this was back when I was running my first business, right? The video surveillance company. So
Mhm.
we're selling 100K product in India, right? No one is buying, and I when like I told you, I went to the MIT of India, which is IIT, and on day one I had a job offer that paid me what, like, it was almost like 60K annually, and in India that's a lot. I'm talking about USD, right? So we
Yeah.
get paid big bucks by Indian
Yeah.
standards, right? And I'm a middle class guy. I'm not a rich guy. Like, my parents aren't rich people, they're middle class.
Hmm.
But what I did was, like, I ended up quitting on the
Hmm.
first day because I thought, now is the time to take risks and run a business, right? 2 years, I didn't have any money. I used to eat at the same stalls that the rickshaw pullers eat at and spend, like I used to spend like 10 cents on a meal, right? I was that frugal, right? And that at that point you think, okay, I've said no to a 60K job. I'm trying to sell this product that no one is really buying. And at that point you really start
Hmm.
thinking, right? You really start thinking, like, why is it that I'm here, right?
Yep.
And you go through these motions. It's not easy, right? Like, what I can't even explain how hard it is mentally. It's like, you're walking with at least 100 kg boulder, or, like, for the American listeners, like 1,000 pound boulder on your head, right? All the time. Like, that's what it feels like, because you said no to a well-paying job to take a risk, and it's not working, right? It's not working at all. And you're eating like these random meals, and you don't have money in the bank. You could have saved, you could have sent money back home, and now you're sitting here taking a risk, and then it's not working out at all. So that kind of uh, taught me one thing. Like, when you're going through a shit time, just go through it, right? Just keep going. Like, take it 1 hour at a time, then 2 hours at a time, 3 hours at a time, one day at a time, and keep iterating, right? I know it's easy to say now. Like, even if I look back at that time, like, just talking about it, I can feel that heavy weight, right? And you're always, as a founder, you're always paranoid. Like, it's the saying that only always the paranoid survive. So even if my business is doing well right now, I never stop being paranoid, right? Like, I always operate from
Yeah.
a
I'm listening.
assumption that this can get shut down anytime, right? And I used to think I was the only one who thought this
Yep.
way. But I talked to a lot of founders who are doing much better than what I am doing. And they're like, okay, yeah, I feel that all the time, right? Like this level of paranoia that this will all come crashing down, in the next second. I feel that all the time. Like, okay, interesting. Like I thought I was the only one. But the coming to the point about like coming to what you asked, what that failure taught me was that emotionally like managing your emotions is the hardest part in the journey, right? Like managing people is one part, coming up with a good product or service is another part, but the actual hardest part is managing your own emotions, right? Because ultimately you're not just a machine. You will feel things, right? When things are going really terrible, you'll feel all of it, right? And you'll feel, especially for a guy whose background was like mine, right? Prestigious guy, went to like the MIT of India, never
Mm.
failed in life, right? Like went to a top university, great grades and all
Mm-hmm.
of that. Coming down to like eating with 10 rupees with the same rickshaw puller that
Yep.
barely makes a living. So that kind of it it one it one it actually affects you mentally, but two, it also builds that kind of resilience, right? Like now that I look back and see, if I hadn't gone through that phase, I wouldn't be a half decent founder right now, or a half decent CEO right now. So that's one of the things that I will say, like the biggest learning for me is, how do you manage your emotional state in times of extreme turbulence.
Oh my God, that's a huge one. I gotta push this. There's a button that says mark the clip, and I had to mark that one, mate, because that's a game changer for people if they are able to realize that. This is what I mean. And how long does it take you? You went through what, 20 odd years, 20 and some change, to get to that one experience where you have that realization. I got sent, like, so again, one of my failures was my basically my lack of discipline for women
Mhm.
and a pretty
Mhm.
face. Like I'm a sucker for like a pretty face or whatever, eyes or whatever they say. And that ended up being my
Mhm.
downfall. And the way I learned about realization was through Scientology, which some people think is absolutely mad
Mhm.
because it's
Yeah.
like this. Its image is as a cult, right? And I went to a rehab
Mhm.
because my parents wanted
Yeah.
to get me better. And I used to have to walk around a table and touch the table. They used to be, what? Touch the table, touch your hair, touch the table, touch your nose, touch the table, touch your mouth. And sometimes
Wow.
they make you do it for like 6 hours, and you're thinking, what the fuck is this crazy shit that these people are doing? And then they ask you to realize something. So you do it like after like 10 minutes, you're like, oh, I got it. And then you try to make something up,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it goes up and then it comes back down. And they said, no, you failed. You got to do it again. And some people are on it
Wow.
for like weeks. And it again,
My
it's
God.
about realizing specific moments. And then when you realize a specific moment that according to them makes sense, they let you like
Mhm.
upgrade to the next level in your rehab. It's fucking nuts, bro.
Mhm.
But that was a huge
Yeah.
learning for me, and I'd love for you to share your learning in separate from that, a major learning experience in your life that you went through, and it really helped like shape your character. It had a profound impact in your life. Tell people about that
Mhm.
lesson and how they can really follow the path of it and experience the same type of success as you, but in half the time.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. For me, this moment was again to do with very similar answer, to do with discipline, but when it comes to business strategy, I'll tell you what I mean, right? So when you're a business owner, you tend to compare. In life, you tend to compare, right? Like, hey, this person made this much money, or that person has 200 employees and you are only at 20, whatever, right? Like you always tend to compare.
Well, I think I'm
What I
lost
realized
connection for a
was, my
bit.
biggest learning was, can you hear me okay?
I think I got disconnected for a second. Back?
Yo, we're back.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're back. All right, cool. So it's still recording. So yeah, but on that last question, we got a little bit of a technical issue, but it'll be cut out. But like I said, in terms of lessons, major learning lessons that help shape your character, that help shape you as Sam, help shape your character as a leader. Tell the audience about that type of learning lesson and like how it shaped you.
Yeah. Like for me, I think my answer is actually very similar to yours. Comes from discipline, right? So, but for me, the discipline was not exactly around women, but around business strategy, right? Because anything you do takes time.
Yeah.
Anything you do takes time. So it's not just discipline, it's
Yeah.
discipline multiplied by time. So which is what people call consistency, right? It's discipline in one axis and time
Yeah.
on the other one, right? So for me, for example, when you're a founder, you just tend to compare, right? You tend to compare, hey, this person has like 200
Yeah.
employees, or that person is driving that car, or this person is making that much money. It's very natural. It's a very natural thing to compare, but at the same time,
It is.
it's fucking useless, right? What is that piece of thought going to do, right? It's completely useless, right? Like if somebody is making 10 times more money than you, then that does not teach you how to make money. What does teach you make to how to make that amount of money is if you break down his business strategies or her business strategies and try to apply it to your business
Yeah.
consistently, right? So for me, the biggest learning
Yep.
that I would love to pass along to the viewers was, if you decide on a strategy, you have to be consistent with it for the minimum amount of time you decide, right? So for that, like for us, I'll give you a real example. Now, our most of our growth is coming from marketing, not sales, right? When we started,
Mhm.
it was from sales. Now, what we did was we invested a lot into our website content, website traffic, organic content
Mhm.
marketing.
Mhm.
And we always looked at businesses in our space who did well, and we knew that they were doing well because of SEO, right? Because of inbound marketing. But we were not doing a good job of it, and
Mhm.
we kept comparing ourselves to them, like, hey, these guys are doing so much better, like why are we not doing that well? And we're like, oh, hang on, what are you doing day to day? You're not writing any content, you're sitting on sales calls, you're not doing anything when it comes to content, and then you're comparing. So for me, the biggest learning was to be patient and be consistent, right? Decide on some strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy could be right or wrong, but decide on it, pick one, right? Then give it the minimum amount of time that you thought you will give it, right? No matter what. Like if you have to, like just stare at zero subscribers for like 1 year, do it. Doesn't matter, right? You're still doing it. You're in the input phase. Nobody went to the gym in one day and started benching like 225, right? It didn't happen in a day. So just just put in that kind of process in your head, that number one, this is my strategy. For us, this was inbound marketing. Outbound can work, can't work, but it's a crapshoot for us because it's the kind of price
Mhm.
point we're in. Outbound doesn't really work. Inbound works much better. So
Mhm.
take that inbound
Mhm.
strategy, put your best effort towards it, hire the best people, pay top dollar if you have to, right? My inbound guy scaled a grocery delivery business in Sweden sitting in Bangalore, and he scaled it to like 150K in 4 months and then sold it to a Swedish grocer. So when I was hiring for my head of inbound marketing, I was like, I need this guy. Like he cost me a ton more compared to every other person who was interviewing, but I was like, I know this guy can do it. And he scaled us from zero to like 4,000 visitors a month in like 6 months, right? He came in and he proved it, right?
Wow.
So once you've decided that this is what you're gonna do, then like go balls to the wall, right? Like don't half-ass it. Do the best job you can, hire the best people you can in that strategy, and just be patient, right? Give it 6 months, give it 12 months,
All right.
work with them.
Well,
If you stagnate, but
on that point,
yeah.
what do you do if you don't have the revenue to afford the best?
Mm-hmm. No, great point. So this is the hardest part, right? The chicken egg problem. Like it's easy to make, $1 million from 100K than it is from 0 to 100K, right? It's just math, right?
Yes.
It's like it's especially in a business like ours, which is a low ticket business. it's that much harder because you're just earning what, like $100 per month from a client, which is nothing, right? You can't hire a great person at $100 a month. So for me, the lightning sort of the light bulb moment was, you have to get scrappy and creative, right? If you don't have the resources to hire, you have to become a learning machine. Like that's how the best entrepreneurs learn. Like if you look at people like Jeff Bezos, or people like Elon Musk, it's not like they hired on day one. They were learning machines, right? Whatever they were curious about, they became world experts in that field within 7 to 14 days, and they kept honing their craft. So you, as a business owner, you can't hire, and you won't know how to hire, right? Like if you're not actually good at it already. Like before I hired that guy, I was actually pretty good at SEO. I had taken it from some basic level to a good level, right? Like we were doing something close to 300, 400 visitors a month with my input as well. So it's not like I didn't know how to do it, right? So the thing is, first you have to become an expert, become like a massive learning machine, and then go and hire people, right? There's no other way. You just have to put in the sweat equity. That's why it's called the sweat equity, right? If you're not sweating, then you can't expect anybody else to come in and fix it. Like as good as he was, I had to coach him personally, and I had to make sure that everything works according to my standards, otherwise it doesn't work.
Sorry, man. I don't know if it's my connection or if it's yours, but finish on that point that you were saying, that on what you were just saying just before it got cut off, which was it's on the consistency. So when you have the right person in front of you that can deliver the result, and you do believe in it, you have that conviction. But for those that are starting out, let's say where me and you were 3 years ago, when you don't have that
Mhm.
50 grand a month in revenue and things are tight and
Yeah.
you can't barely do anything, how do you get into the mindset of paying for something that doesn't deliver the result in days, but 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. Again, it's not easy, right? Like you question yourself every day.
I'm here. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. So so you go on, carry on.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not easy. You just suck it up and do it, right? Like if you've decided that, hey, this is the person that's going to take my business to the next level, you have to decide. You have to invest, right? You have to invest at that point, and just be
Yeah.
okay with losing that money, right? Like it's a bet that you took. Like for me, I played a ton of poker in my life. I love poker, right? Um, it's actually a great game to teach you about business. So whenever you're in a hand and you know the hand you're holding, and you have a good perception of and you can be wrong completely, right, of what the other person is holding, you
Hmm.
just have to make that bet, right? Like there's so many times where I say I can't fold from here, right? I just can't, right? Like you have to go all in, right? So one of the things that poker does is it
Mm.
teaches you to be so there's two things. One is the decision, and two is the outcome. You
Hmm.
can make great decisions but have terrible outcomes. That's fine. That's fine on a long enough
Yeah.
timeline across your career. And careers are long. Careers are not like 2 years long, 3 years long. Careers are 20 plus years long,
Yeah. Exactly.
right? Typically on a
Yeah.
long enough timeline, if you stay consistent and you just make great decisions, even if you have terrible outcomes in the first 5-10 years or so, math says you'll make it up later, right? That's math, right? Because you're making consistently decisions with good odds all the time. Sometimes the odds will
Yeah.
turn against
Yeah.
you, that's fine, but your decisions are still good.
Mate, that is a strong piece of advice there. So I want to segue into the next piece, and it is for a younger group of people that I would say are typically in between 16, 17, and 18. And the range would go up to the people that either listen to this or even consume this type of information are going all the way up to 45, 50. And there have been many
Mhm.
people that look 45, 50, even 60 years old that would love to be in the position of us where we are thriving in developing a business that does generate money. It does actually, it's profitable. The fact that I
Mhm.
ran an 82% profit margin, gross profit though, on a services
Mhm.
business, outbound fractional sales. Some people were absolutely astonished. 444%
Yeah.
growth in our second year was like incredible. And
Yeah.
sometimes it seemed too good to be true. And what I knew though is that the consistent action of execution was the one thing that got me
Mhm.
there. It was always, it doesn't matter about fucking perfection and getting it every single little detail right. It was getting started no
Mhm.
matter what, and then letting the experience help you iterate your growth and those improvements. So if you were able to go back to when you were 18 and you are
Mhm.
you now and you're giving him a message, your 18-year-old self a message,
Mhm.
and it's to remain consistent. You've said discipline, you've said make good decisions, but what's one consistent action you would tell yourself, if you do this, mate, like you are going to be a millionaire in a couple of years, right? Yes, be patient, but this is
Yeah.
the one thing I want you to do, and this will help you get to where you need to be. What is that one
Yeah.
consistent action that you would really, really like champion for people to look at or take discipline on themselves?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing would be just meditate, right? Like it's so everything else
Meditate.
is some just meditate like 10 minutes a day, not more, just 10 minutes a day, right? And it could even be something very basic, like, like just be in tune with your surroundings. When you're walking, feel the feet on your floor for a little while, get out of your head. The only consistent piece of advice is get out of your own head, right? There's not enough good things that happen if you're too much inside your own head. Just take 10 minutes,
Yep.
disconnect completely from whatever you're thinking, and that will give you so much perspective that you can implement in your business or your life, if you just get that 10 minutes. Because in that 10 minutes a lot is happening, right? A lot is happening and you can't see it. Of course you can't see it. It's meditation, right? Because it's supposed to be the idea of wiping the slate clean, right? And great things can happen on a clean slate, right? If your slate isn't clean, nothing good will come out of it.
Wow, mate. It's actually funny you mentioned that because as I was moving house the other day, I took on, well, the person that I was moving my stuff from the storage facility to the new apartment. He was really interested in B2B and like how it works. He's like, how do you do this? How, you say all this stuff happens, and I just show financial reports to back everything up. Because you can't lie when it
Right.
comes to HMRC or the government. And he mentioned the same thing too. He was going through a very tough time in his life, like almost to the point of being suicidal, and he found meditation as the solution to unblock every single thing that was in his way, get out of his ego, and just like understand, like kind of let it be. And he's actually coming here today in like 20 minutes because he's number one, I'm
So
doing life coaching with him and business coaching with him, but also he's going to be teaching me about meditation too. So I'm going to get into that. So last thing before we
yeah.
wrap up, a lot of people that watch podcasts are seeking information, they're seeking validation in something. And there's
Mhm.
a number of guests that come on the show that run incredible companies, and I'm not going to pick a company that's a shit company to come on my show. So I picked you for a specific reason because number one, your background. Number two, I know your service delivers. I know your product delivers. tell us about the growth hacks or a growth hack that a BDR, a business owner, can leverage now today and start producing results. What is that growth hack that you'd recommend they use or start looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one very basic one. So Sales Robot has this feature called automatically wish people a happy birthday in your network or congratulate them on a new job. I was just talking to one of our Sales Robot users before coming on this podcast, and he said, I've generated, about 500,000 in pipeline just using this birthday stuff. I was like, how? Like, I've created my network with people who are in my target market, right? And I've just connected with them, send them some basic messages like thanks for connecting. And what I do is whenever their birthday comes around, Sales Robot wishes them a happy birthday. That starts a conversation. At that point,
Yeah.
they're feeling good, they have their birthday. I don't immediately go in for the sale, but then I slip in like a casual discovery question or like a casual thing like, hey, how's
Yeah.
the billing software going for you at over at company name? And he's just used this like sneaky growth hack, wishing people at the right point of time when it's their birthday or when they've changed jobs. And then he's just booking a like bunch of pipeline just from like happy birthday messages. So this kind of blew my mind, right? If you grow a large enough network with the right people and just wish them a happy birthday, you can grow a 6-figure pipeline within like what, like 8 months. He's done this. So that kind of blew my mind, right? Like it's damn
Mate,
simple, this growth
you
hack.
are
So
not
I do
lying.
it too.
You are not lying
Because
because
he's using our tool to do it,
I
and that's
honestly
crazy.
think it was you. It wasn't until I met you that obviously I don't want to be revealing any secrets, but the recommendation on your profile from
Yeah,
XYZ was incredible.
yeah,
And I'd love to hear more about it one day. And that one liner that you put together, mate, the amount of people that I started conversations with and now I'm connected with,
yeah.
absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. So
Right.
as we wrap up the hour, I want people to know where they can find you, where they can look really get information about your company or learn more about you personally. Where do they go to find that information?
Absolutely. Just connect with me over at LinkedIn. Just search for Saurav Gupta, and then I'll come up. Or like there's millions more. So put in Saurav Gupta Sales Robot, and you'll probably find me because there's a ton of Saurav Guptas out there in India.
I don't know what has happened. This has never happened on this fucking podcast. But
Yeah,
where did we get? Where did we get to?
yeah. Like where can they find me?
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So as the last segment, it'd probably be good to break it up even into this. Where can people find you? What companies do you want people to go have a look at? That obviously you're part of or working with or on, and what's the best way to contact you?
Sure. Just send me a connection request on LinkedIn or give me a follow. Just search for Saurav Gupta Sales Robot, and I'll come up. Or just search for Sales Robot. We push out a lot of updates there on LinkedIn, of course.
Or just say happy birthday to you.
Yeah, yeah. Just do that, and probably I'll buy something from you.
Well, look, Sam, again, thank you very, very much for jumping on. I'm going to wrap it up. Stay on for a second. It has to do some uploading. But, guys, if you liked the show today or found value in the content, like, share, subscribe so everybody else can take the benefits of our lessons that we've taken on in our lives so you don't have to. And you can really get to your dreams and achieve your goals in half the time. So that's me. That's a wrap. Sam, I'm sure we'll have you on again. But until next time, I will see you soon. And let's stop
See
in
you.
there.
Thanks.
And
Thanks
that's
for
it, mate.
inviting.
So